I'm Rebecca. I've been a high school teacher for 16 years, and I love my job. I go in every day pumped up so that I can give that energy to the kids. And as soon as they leave the classroom, I wilt because I'm burnt out. I get up at 4:45 every morning. I hit snooze 20 times. When you're a teacher, you're on all day. There are no breaks. You get 20 minutes to eat, you get 30 seconds to pee, and then you're back out into the classroom again. I get disoriented. I become blind to the clutter on my desk, to the clutter in my home, to the clutter in my brain. I'm constantly giving to other people. I've got stuff going on with my grown children. I have things going on with my husband and his health. I have stuff going on with me and my health. It's really hard.
That was a member of our TAM fam, Rebecca, discussing the effects that a lot of people in this audience are feeling, a lot of folks at home. I know I have felt it. It's burnout. And the World Health Organization in 2019 acknowledged burnout as a phenomenon closely linked with depression and anxiety. And a recent survey by Deloitte found that a staggering 77% of employees reported facing burnout at their current jobs. And my next guest, Jennifer Moss, is a mother of 3 who has not only experienced burnout, but wrote a book about it. Her latest book, The Burnout Epidemic, is an eye-opening look into how we can put a stop to the dangerous cycle of chronic stress. And Jennifer Moss joins us. Welcome to the TAM fam. Thank you. So you saw Alicia. How do you describe this epidemic, Jennifer?
It's a catastrophic, massive problem that I think COVID has done a really good job of highlighting that it's out there, but it's also kind of made it trendy, and people aren't realizing how serious it is. When the World Health Organization identified burnout as institutional or societal stress, workplace stress left unmanaged, they were trying to highlight how serious it was. They had just come off of research finding out that 700,000 people die every year from overwork alone. It has huge impacts, and so we need to take it more seriously, and that's why I love Alicia's story and her ability to come back in this post-traumatic growth way and share that there are ways to come through this.
We saw Rebecca, and I listened to our audience as we're talking, and when she said, I'm joyful when the kids come in, and when they leave, I cry. Mm-hmm. That was a gut punch. Because so many of us have that mask where you're like, okay, let me do what's next, let me do this. And then you go in a corner and you're just like empty.
It's interesting because I've done a lot of research, and in education and teachers, they're at high risk because they're caregivers. And we see personalities at risk like Alicia and myself and yourself, and I'm sure lots of folks here. When you're a perfectionist, when you're high performing, when you're a person that, if you
can't say no.
You can't say no. And you feel also, as a woman, there's this expectation to go harder and do more. And then you're also responsible for the family, and it just piles up. And anytime that you show that sort of weakness, you feel like, oh, I'm not living up to my expectations.
I'm not being super mom. I'm not being super parent. I'm not being the best worker. I'm not being whatever it is. Exactly. This bar that we set so high. What are the red flags that we all should be looking for in our lives?
Well, it's great to follow the World Health Organization definition because it does give you these 3 major signs to look out for. One is just a high level of depletion. So this isn't just I'm tired, I didn't get enough sleep. This is like I am exhausted. I am feeling like I don't want to get up in the morning. I feel like I can't even make decisions about what to make for dinner.
She said she hit the snooze 20 times.
Yeah.
Just not wanting to get it started.
It feels like cement is just holding you in bed. So that's the exhaustion we're talking about. We're also talking about that self-doubt, feeling like I'm not good at my job anymore. There's times where I felt like, why am I doing this? Why bother? What's the point? And that's because I'm feeling really emotionally distanced from my work, and that's burnout and stress. And then there's this real scary sign that we need to look out for, which is cynicism. And that's when we're starting to use words like always and never. It's always gonna be like this. It's never gonna change. Using more I words so you feel isolated, and thinking that you're hopeless. There's no opportunity in sight for me to feel better. And that's when we really want to be sure, to seek support and help.
And we also trick ourselves into making this a badge of honor. That's what Alicia talked about. This whole notion of being constantly busy is a badge of honor.
It is, and we need to focus on our own desire to want to always be high-performing, high-achieving, and create these intentional ways of trying to work at it, to try to prevent it. And it's hard to do because we can't control a global pandemic.
Yeah.
We can't control life or death situations, but we can control the everyday ways that we respond to these stressors so that we can avoid burnout.
I want to point out that the World Health Organization says burnout is not a medical condition, but a syndrome linked to chronic stress. Why do we need that distinction?
Well, I feel like they need to go further and make it a medical condition, and they haven't yet. The only place where it is considered a medical condition is Sweden, and they're doing a lot of work on that. And the World Health Organization is trying to get to that point so that it can be diagnosable, so that it can be treated, that we can have therapeutics and responses to it.
Well, we appreciate you joining the conversation. As I shared with Jennifer, I wanted her to have really the last word on this because you've written so thoughtfully, both from a personal level and a professional level, about this crisis that we're all experiencing. Thank you. And Jennifer's book is The Burnout Epidemic. It is available now.